Hey, what's up, guys? It's Andrew, and I just wanted to share with you just a quick little video. I'm really just testing OBS and capturing audio, and I just wanted to show you a few of the things that I like to do and some tips and tricks on how I do my sidechain compression and kind of create like maybe like a chill hop, lo-fi-ish type of beat. And so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is kind of like look for some melodies. Now, unfortunately, I'm kind of new to this whole OBS thing, and I'm trying to get everything coming through the recording so you guys can hear it. But I'm going to go ahead and look for some melodies real quick here. So I'll kind of see if I can come up with something. Let me see what this one sounds like. It's too much horns and stuff here, but let me lower my mix real quick here because it's a little loud. Okay, here we go. No. Okay, I kind of like that. So let me go ahead and throw it in my mix here. And this one says 80 BPM, so let me go ahead and change it to 80 BPM. There we go. And let me show you what I'm working with. I like it. It's very subtle. And a lot of times when you download samples, in this case I downloaded this from Semantics, going through Splice. And Splice is great. For all of you who don't know what it is, check it out, splice.com. You could rent to own plugins, and they also have a lot of loops from different third-party companies, and some come curated as Apple loops. This one is not one of those, but or maybe it is. But let's try using this and add some drums, and then I want to show you some of my sidechain compression type of techniques that I use. And so let's get started. Now, to make this a little bit more of my own, and I didn't make this sample, somebody else did, but I like to go in and just start playing around with some of the transposes. So let's lower it maybe a whole step and see what it sounds like. So before it was like this. Now it's going to be like this. Okay. All right, kind of like that. And we're going to use this as our intro. So let me go ahead and dupe this here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab these two. So basically my track's going to start right here on the fifth measure there. All right, just kind of copy those all the way out. And I'm going to just go ahead and get down to some tricks here. I'm going to go ahead and cut this first sample. And then I'm going to hit my escape key to get my tool palette out here. I'm going to use the fade tool in Logic Pro. Now, when you get Logic Pro, your key commands are going to be different. I've made my customized one so I can hit escape to find my tools. But if you're looking for your tools, they're right up here. And I'm going to go ahead and just bring this over. Naturally, when you use a fade tool, it's going to be a fade tool. But I'm going to right click and say slow down so it kind of gets that vinyl closing sound. So here we go. Little too much. Let's bring that back maybe about right here. Okay. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and look for some drum samples. Let's try a couple here. You may not be able to hear it maybe through the headphones. Interesting. Little too playful there. Okay, I like this one. So let's drag it down. And I put my drums on top of my melody. And let's go ahead and give it an icon here. We're just going to go to drums, drum machine. And then this one's going to be a melody. It's more like I'm starting to draw things. Oh my gosh, look at that. Logic's acting up. Let's see. All right. Okay, here we go. I don't know if you saw the visuals acting up. It's probably because of OBS, but we're going to go sound effects. Maybe I'll put a little vinyl thing on it. Okay, cool. So this is what it sounds like when it comes out of that little fade. And as you can see, this BPM is at 85. I'm at 80. So I'm going to go ahead and just hold down the Option key in Logic Pro. I'm going to stretch her out a little bit. There we go. And I noticed that it kind of cuts out right here. I like that. Maybe I'll use it later, but right now I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. And I'm just going to zoom out of Logic, and I'll put this way at the very back here because I might use that little break there for a few things. In fact, I'll probably, well, I'll just keep that as is. And I'm going to go ahead and dupe these drums. All right. Cool. Awesome, awesome. And let's go ahead and color code these because I like to keep track and just kind of flow. And if everything's the same color, it kind of gets me confused. So our melody will be yellow. And let's take off that loop thing. Here we go. So melody will be yellow. Drums will be orange. Yeah, we'll do orange. And okay, cool. Now, I was talking about using sidechain compression to have music duck. And it's highly used in the house music scene, but it's really it's very well used in like hip hop. And let me demonstrate what I like to do. A lot of people use compressor, and they'll use a compressor so anytime the kick hits, it ducks the music or bass line or vocal. But I'm going to use something a little different. Logic has a gate that has a ducker in it too. And coming from the whole EDM, electronic house music scene, it's really hard to write that music, believe it or not. Some people say it could be soulless, but sometimes it could be soulful if you're depending on what kind of genre you're writing, whether it's deep house, commercial house music, tech house. But what I've noticed when writing electronic music is that everything listens to everything. Yes, you can throw a reverb on and let it tail out, but when music comes back in, you want that to be tailored, and you don't want it to muddy up your mix. So let me demonstrate what I'm going to do with the with my compressor, or actually my gate. So first I'm going to do here is I'm going to duplicate my drum track, and then I'm going to take one of those drum tracks and bring it down. Now I only want the kick that's right here. Okay, I don't want the snare. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this, cut here, cut here, cut here, cut here. Okay, and I'm just going to go and take these out. All right, let's zoom in here and just kind of look at it for a little bit. Just make it really nice and tight. That looks good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and name that one Duck. Oops, if I can spell correctly. Here we go. All right, and let's make the Duck track red. Okay, and I'm going to bring it on top of my drums. Now, I have the ducking track here, and so anytime these play, it's going to duck my melody. Well, I don't want that kick to play along with this kick, so I'm going to head over to Logic's stereo out here, and I'm just going to give it no output. So we're just going to go to no output, okay? And that one has an output, that one has an output. That looks good. And let me lower the master volume because it is extremely loud when it plays back. Sorry about that if I was blowing up your ears. And I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate this. Okay, great. Now I have a ducking track. I'm just going to go ahead and glue this together. Again, I'm hitting escape, and then I'm hitting the glue tool. And I'm just going to go ahead and just so I'm just not grabbing every one of those kicks and trying to copy them all over, and sometimes I'll miss one. So there we go. Now let's go back to our melody, and what I'm going to do is go ahead and add an EQ, because you may have to EQ, and I'm just going to drop down that low end on that EQ and maybe a little bit of the high end. You can always play around with this as you're starting your mixing process. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a compressor, because eventually you will add a compressor to your tracks. I'm just kind of setting things up. And let's turn off the auto, turn off auto gain. Logic's compressor is amazing, by the way. So, I mean, and sometimes I would use the sidechain for this compressor, but I'm going to show you this different technique here. Now I'm going to head down to add another plugin, and we're going to use Logic's noise gate. And this is it. And it has you can do a gate where it can completely shut things off, or you can use a ducker. I'm going to use a ducker, and I've made my own preset. You can copy this, and all I've done is -8 on the threshold, -8 on the ducking, and then I did the attack at 4 milliseconds so it can breathe, so it doesn't have that clicking noise. It kind of comes in naturally. And then just everything else is pretty much my release at 142. Let's see. Yeah, 142, it's fine. And let's go ahead and listen to the playback. I'm going to go ahead and solo. Oh, sorry, I'm soloing stuff here, and you can't hear me talk. But let's do this. Let's see. Oops. Okay, maybe I can solo this and you can still hear me. Maybe not. Yeah, okay, you could. All right, so let me solo that, and I'm going to go ahead and have that listen. Here we go. Way different than this. This really does a lot to the mix. So let's go ahead and listen to everything. Let me go ahead and turn off that solo. We'll start midway from the very beginning. Turn these out, or close them out. And here we go. I like it. And so a lot of you producers, you already see patterns, right? Like every 2, every 8. For me, I probably like, just a good 4-bar intro, then maybe let it play out without a bass line to kind of extend this track. For this tutorial, I'll just kind of play around and move things around as we go. So let's be creative together. What I'm going to do here is I like the snare in here, the little snappy snare in here, and I want it to like kind of like maybe reverb out every so often, and I'll probably put one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and dig in and find, let's see, I think this is the snare right here. Okay. I'm just going to drag that down, and let's just verify that that is working. Okay. Cool. It already has like a little bit of reverb on it, but I want to make it a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an EQ. I'm going to adjust that reverb a little bit because I want it to sound a tad different from the original. Then I'm going to head over down to Logic's reverbs, and I'm going to go over to, let's think, we'll go to Chrome Verb. It's pretty standard. And I made a preset, I think I called it Collapse, and it may be a little over exaggerated, but as you can see, I have a dry and a wet, and then if you go to details, I've cut off the low end and a little bit off the high end. So let's lower that volume down and unsolo, and I'll show you what it does. Here we go. It's there, it's subtle, maybe a little long. Let me take a look. It's cool. I kind of like it. It's a little long, so let's go back into the main details here, and we'll just kind of shorten that up a lot. Let's see. Here we go. Let's get it a little bit, maybe 250. Cool. And again, it's very subtle, but it reverbing out on its own, it doesn't quite have the effect I'm looking for. So I'm going to adopt and take this very first section and copy it here. So I'm going to cut this one out, bring this in, because I want it to kind of go whoop, click, like. Not too bad. Maybe I can kind of do both of these at the same time, kind of bring it over just a hair. Let's see. And in fact, I'm going to kind of maybe start Again, we're talking about shapes. I can already see what's going on here, and I kind of want to keep that consistency going on. So maybe I'll copy that that snare over, and maybe I'll do it again right here. We'll copy the vinyl slow down there, and then I'll do it again right here. Build as we go. Come on. There. Oh, the snapping. And again, I have Logic snapping on. I have it on Smart Snap. And you can choose any one of these guys. I just keep it at the default. And I'm going to go ahead and add my little snare there. And that's looking pretty good. So far, so good. Let me go ahead and, well, we'll come back to that. All right. Now I'm going to add a bass line. And I was doing an interview in Hawaii, and somebody was asking me, how do you get your warm bass lines to come through and be nice and thick and stuff? And I'm like, I really don't have any secrets here, guys. I love synthesizers. I have a bunch of them. I have a Roland R3, and I have like a lot of native instruments complete, And basically, I just create a new one out of a sine wave, and I use Logic Sampler. Logic 9 used to have something called the ESX24, which is one of the best samplers out there. And with Logic Pro 10, they've created a new sampler out of the ESX24, and it's called Sampler. So let me go ahead and show you and give you an example of what this thing does. So I'm going to go ahead and just open it up. There we go. All right, so this is the sampler. And if I was just to play it, it's just going to give you a sine wave. And that's all it really does if you don't add any samples to it. So if I was to go into mapping, I can drop a sample in here and I can cut it up and assign it to any one of my keys on my keyboard. And it does a great job, and it's got all the bells and whistles that any sampler would have. And but I'm just using it just to play the simple sine wave and get that low end, a Tribe Called Quest type of low end bass line. And if you have headphones, put those on, because you're not going to be able to hear this through your iPhone. That brings me to my next point, is how do you get that bass to come through something like this, right? Or a Samsung phone or any type of small speaker setup. One of the things I do is, let me go ahead and just add my preset, Hip Hop Bass 3. What I do is I add this distortion, and without it, here is just the bass. And then if I add the hip hop distortion, I use the preset Nasty, and I have my my drive about 0.92, my pre-gain is about 4.5, and then my tonality is at unity gain. And so let's turn it on. You can somewhat hear it through if you have headphones on, but this will come out through this little iPhone speaker. And it's basically a perceived bass line. So as the listener's kind of listening to the beat kind of back and forth, you can kind of hear the bass line poking through a little bit, and that just gives it more of that aesthetic, like there's a bass in there. And so this is highly used in the industry. A lot of people have different tips and tricks. Some people use a bit crusher. And again, I'm not exaggerating it too much. I mean, so bring the tone down. It has a really different sound. We'll probably just keep it around there somewhere. All right, and let's add a bass line. And for me, I'm not really a keyboard player. I dabble, right? I took piano lessons when I was a kid, but I was never really good. Even at my recital, I screwed up the first song and then played it flawlessly the second time. I remember my teacher just looking at me like, what'd you just do? But, you know, we're all just kind of poking around. You know, we're bedroom producers. Some people are musically trained. I'm not. I play bass. I play a little bit of guitar. I'm like B.B. King. I play a lot of notes, right? Not saying I'm B.B. King at all, by all means. He's the man. But let's start with the bass line. And sometimes when you're working with like these low-end bass lines in a song, it's really hard to hear the notes come through. And that's why it's good to wear a pair of cans. I have some Slate Digital headphones. These are modeled headphones. You can model any type of headphones with these guys, but they have a really good low bass response. And with these on, I can probably pull it off. But for this demonstration, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transpose my sampler to about 12. Okay, so let's play along and see what we get here. Okay, I kind of hear it, even though it's transposed up, and I wish I recorded that. And in reality, Logic is recording stuff in the background, and let me explain. So if I right-click in this little gray area, I can go customize control bar and display, and on under transport, it has capture recording. I'm gonna go and click OK. Well, where you don't see it here, if I was to click the capture, it's there. And I kind of like that last part I had, even though it was pitched way up. There was just something about it that stuck out more than all the others. And first thing I'm going to do before I cut is I'm going to go ahead and quantize. And let me lower that back to where it needed to be. Let's go transport back to 0. And then some people just immediately go to 116, which is perfectly fine. But I want this thing to slump a little bit. So I'm just going to head down to maybe 116 swing C. Okay, and then we'll listen to the playback. Actually, it's still not low enough, so let's go ahead and lower it down to -12. Pretty cool. I like it. There's probably a few notes I would add in there to kind of give it some more variation, but for the demonstration of this video, I'm just going to leave it as is. In fact, will add one maybe here. Let's see what that sounds like. Maybe there. Let me see. So I have a variation, one that's going to be shortened, the other one's going to be a little longer. And now I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate these. I'm sorry if I'm moving a little quick, but I don't want to keep you guys on too long. I know we're at 23 minutes here. Let's go ahead and see if I can add some guitar now. Let's see what we have so far. I think that little roll-off was a little much. Let's fix that here and here. Okay, and then take this one out. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and play some guitar. Now, again, I'm not the best guitar player at all. I dabble. And let's see, I got one set up here. And I got my guitar right here. And it might be out of tune a little bit. But let's get it going. Let's turn it up. All right. I don't know if you hear that. You probably could. Let's go ahead and... let's see. Let's put the I for it. There we go. Now you can hear it. Okay. And what I'm going to do here is just kind of, we're going to repeat this section. Okay, just hitting that repeat button. And again, that is from the Customize Control Bar and then Repeat section here in Logic Pro. So let's maybe we'll start the guitar right there. So let's. I like it. It's not the best, but let's just take what we have right now for the demonstration of this video. All right, and for those who are interested, that is an Epiphone guitar. It's basically a Les Paul, and I swapped out the pickups and put the Les Paul pickups in, and it worked great. I'm also running through, as an amplifier, I'm running through the Strymon Iridium, and I have it basically flat with a little bit of an amp simulator. It's for those who don't know, check it out, Strymon Iridium. It takes the place of a real amplifier. It is an amplifier without the speaker. And I'm also going through, for the reverb, I'm running through the Ventris, and I think I'm using can't quite see it, so dark in here, but I have the reverb up just a hair to kind of give you that that hall effect. So let's take a listen here. And I kind of like the variations I did. I mean, it wasn't perfect. I mean, this is the first take, right? So, I mean, I probably could have come up with something a little bit more attractive, but let's see. Let's see. I kind of like the second part, actually. Yeah, let's use that. Let's turn up the volume a little bit more. Let's add an EQ. Let's cut off the low end. Let's add a little bit here. Let's add more brightness in the about 1K. And listen. A little mess up right there. But, let me see. I can probably just kind of cut this and cheat a little bit. There we go. Just kind of go like this. Cool. I kind of like that. I don't think I've ever played that before. And nothing needs to be like dead on. I mean, if it is, you're robotic and it doesn't sound very natural, and that's not me. And so, oops. I'm just going to put a little fade here. All right, cool. Let's see how our time's doing here. Okay, we're at 28 minutes. Trying to keep this a 30-minute video so you don't get bored here. But okay, let's move forward. Now, like I mentioned, there's a lot of samplers out there, and one I want to show you is made by a company called Output. It's called Arcade. It's a third-party company, and they really make a cool little sampler that you subscribe to. I think it's $9.99 a month, and it helped me write 2 albums 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago. So it definitely influenced me to write even more. And just give you an example, I'm using something, for this example, we'll probably use this. I want a vocal sample in here somehow. You know, lo-fi music has different depths. Some of it's more instrumental, and then I like to have like very subtle vocals in the background. So I'm just going to go ahead and try some of this here. And this is kind of new. Let's see what this is. This one here, let's download it. It's called Green Light. And open her up. And I'll show you just a little bit of what it has. So it has a little bit of reverb here in space, hyperwave, echo pulse. And you can really get in here and tweak it out. Here's the sample. And let's go back. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to lower this down. Running through my so sweet. Let's go out. Already already I can hear it's kind of like has that digital glitch to it, and that's because my BPM's at 80 BPM. And if you go back into Arcade, you can kind of take a look at some of the information it has. This one's recommended at 110, between 110 and 140 BPM, and this one's 135. You know, I just remembered I actually have one that I wanted to try. Yeah, this one here, I downloaded it a couple days ago. And yeah, this one, I think it's 85, between 85 and 110. So let's listen to that.
Okay, we can take the yeah. Gonna be a shine. Okay.
Let me see.
Anywhere you, yeah. Anywhere you get away.
Oh, that's cool. I can almost hear what this is going to sound like. Let's give it a take here. And remember, I'm just doing this on the fly here. Let's start right there. And let's lower the volume. Well, actually, it's fine.
Yeah. Anywhere you wanna go, get away. Get away. Yeah. Anywhere you wanna go, get away. Get away.
Ooh, there was something at the tail end I just cut off. Let's go back in there. Let's take a look. It's really cool because I can go in and just mess around with some of the
Get away.
Get
away.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, well, let's use it. Why not? So let me go ahead and click in here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to quantize it. Again, we'll go with that swing. So it has that more natural. And it's sort of not completely, well, this looks like it's on, maybe because it calculated it that way. But what I was hearing as I was singing along with it, and I don't know this that well, this sample, but I kind of want to, let's go ahead and just cut off that low ends, get that radio sound. Let me see.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to duplicate this. Okay. And what I'm going to do with this one here is I'm going to go into Arcade. What's really cool about Arcade, too, is whatever key of your song, in this case, it's C major, but you can go ahead and change it here, and it does a pretty natural way of morphing it to that key. And I'm going to go ahead and just give it an octave down for this one so that I have like a male vocal singing along with it. So let's take a listen. Sounds cool. Maybe I'll put that guitar back. We'll just go back over here. Kind of something lazy. Another thing, too, is I like the reverb on it. And again, there's no ducking on this. In fact, my guitar has no ducking either. So let's go ahead and add that effect. Again, we're going to add our compressor because you may need to use a compressor on any one of your tracks. I put it on everything, whether you use it or not. This time I'm going to keep it on instead of bypassing it. And I'm going to head over to Dynamics. Oh, here's my noise gate. Head over to Noise Gate, and I have my preset. Again, I'm using Ducky 2. That's my preset. And I'm going to go over to Audio, go to Duck. So this way my guitars are kind of doing the same thing. Let's take a listen. Bassline's not ducking either. Let's do that too. And then we'll add the ducking to the vocals. But one thing I like to do here is add my own reverbs. So I'm going to head back down to a third-party reverb made by Valhalla, and it's called Shimmer. And shimmer's great. I'll give you an example of what it does as I solo this out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anywhere you wanna go, get away. Get away.
Hear that little synthesizer thing in the very back? It's really cool. And this kind of like simulates Strymon has a pedal called Big Sky, and it's just remarkable. I think Tycho, there's a lot of bands that use that reverb, and this is basically cost about the same. It's a plugin by Valhalla, and I'm just going to go ahead and add that in there. It's going to be very subtle, but because it has a tail and because there's already reverb in there, I'm still going to add that noise gate. So I'm going to go ahead and add the noise gate. We'll add my little ducky too. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my duck. So because what I've learned in like the electronic music scene in making house music, everything listens to everything. And I can't stop talking about this. You could add a reverb and just let it reverb out, but you really want to take more control of your sound, and to get that like call and response aesthetic and that ear candy that the listener is going to be wanting to listen to, you want to have everything do the same thing. Now, another thing you can do too is also send all your instruments to a bus in Logic Pro, which is really easy to do. And I probably would do it with this track, but for the demonstration of this quick tutorial, I want to show you what the tools do first. So let's listen to that with the ducking on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anywhere you wanna go, get away.
Now it's very subtle, but I'm going to go ahead and just copy the same thing to the next track here. So let's go ahead and head over to Valhalla, copy that, and then we'll go to the second track, and we're going to add our compressor and turn that off. Okay. And then add the shimmer and then paste that in. And then I'm going to add my noise gate. And this is for the low end vocal, or the lower vocal. And then add the ducky. Okay. Gosh, these names I have for them. I bet you guys have a bunch of names for your presets. I'll try to keep it PG. All right, here we go.
Anywhere you wanna go, get away. Get away. Anywhere you wanna go, get away. Get away.
I like it. What if I came in with it right here? Let's see if we start from the top. In fact, I'm going to show you some of Logic's little effects. This one here is remix effects. And you can use your iPhone to control this. It's really cool, and sweep out like some of the filters with the cutoffs and stuff. So let's start with this. We'll go. Probably not here. I would probably cut out this whole area. Let's do that now and do this. And again, I mentioned in the very beginning that you will definitely cut up your tracks in different ways, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut this and then have it starting with the bass line. Let's keep those vocals. like it. Oh, it's so cool. Maybe I could work with this, But there you go, guys. And, sometimes I'll keep this on, which is my multimeter by Logic. And I have the hold time for 2 so that I can kind of see. This is my kick, my snare. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much has that aesthetic of that lo-fi sound, especially with the sample having that crackling noise in there, which is really cool. And if you don't have it, there's a bunch of samples you can get to get that crackling noise, or you can use real vinyl. Have this beat up record over here. It's a 45, and I just put it on it. It's got like about a minute of just nothing, and so I sampled the heck out of that in some previous songs that I have. But there you have it. So I just wanted to share with you guys just a quick tip on how I kind of get my production started. I mean, this is about 41 minutes in. And I think in my next video, I'll be a little bit more organized. I'll pick and curate my samples. Maybe I'll do a house track and show you from beginning to end. But I mean, we got something here that if I go into custom, I can see this track is already like 2 minutes long. I mean, in reality, I can probably just copy and paste this in here. Maybe add some sample. Oh, wait, you know what? Hold on. You guys got me going, man. Let me go ahead into that sampler. I wanted to share with you this before. Let's close that out. We'll go into Logic Sampler just because I think that some horns would be kind of cool, like kind of faint in the background. So let's quickly go into Logic Sampler real quick here. That's quick sampler. I want sampler. So I have some samples already built that I've sampled from different libraries. So let's go ahead and let's go raw cuts here. And, oh. Let's try. Let's listen to that very. Yeah, it sounds kind of cool. Let's add a delay to that. Yeah, I gotta figure out the samples in here. That sounded kind of cool right there, actually. Let's quantize that, and we'll just, oops. Well, I can go on forever and build this whole thing from the ground up, but, you kind of get the idea, like what I'm trying to do. May not work there, but there you have it. Something I started real quickly, and in fact, there was this little thing here. Remember I told you about that little snippet I had at the very end? What if we were to go and have that right there? Yeah, it's a little playful. But all right, well, I'm going to end this here. Thanks for viewing this and watching it. If you like it, give me some thumbs up. I will definitely have something curated for you in the future and come up with something a little bit more, I don't know, upbeat maybe. But if you enjoyed this, let me know. I'll create some more It's been a lot of fun, and then maybe I'll get up on the bass and funk it up too. We'll see what's up. But thanks for watching, and we'll check you next time. Peace.